Even Vladimir Putin congratulated Joe Biden on winning the election like 6 weeks ago now. Jimmy Kimmel said, "This must have been a punch in the McRib. Joe Biden got a congratulatory message from Trump's KGBFF." I like that. Sugar Vladdy Putin put out a statement acknowledging Biden's victory. He said, "For my part, I'm ready for cooperation and contacts with you, which will be easy because Russia just hacked all of our contacts." Well done, Jimmy Kimmel. Writers, Kimmel again. But wait, if Putin's offering a congratulatory handshake to Joe Biden, then what is Trump eating pellets out of? Trevor, I'm ready for interaction and contacts with you. Putin doesn't sound human. He sounds like a self-checkout at CVS. Ready for interaction. Please to place item in the bag. Seth Meyers, hey, even Vladimir Putin knows it's over, and if someone who has had that much Botox can accept reality, you can too. I'm distancing myself from that joke. That's a terrible joke, Seth Meyers. I don't want my podcast hacked. You think I joke, people? I did something about something Russian one day, and I saw like the podcast had like 200 extra downloads from Russia. So I disavow that joke, Seth Meyers. That's terrible. I don't know why you made that joke. Jimmy Fallon, I am ready for interaction and contacts with you. That's actually what Mike Pence said on his honeymoon. Trevor Noah, seriously, guys, what a weird phrase. I am ready for interaction and contacts with you. Sounds like Mike Pence getting frisky. Jimmy Fallon, Putin reached out to Biden. He was like, send me everyone's contact info. Oops, I already have it. Then he said, send me everyone's Netflix passwords. Oops, I already have that too. Stephen Colbert, not a great look for Senate Republicans when the guy who interfered in our election is like, come on, you won. At a certain point, you guys are poisoning democracy and not in the right way with poison. Fallon, even Putin recognized Biden's win. That's a tough break for Trump. In just a few days, his Supreme Court and his Supreme Leader went against him. Fallon, I think Putin is relieved Trump is out. All day long he's been singing, "Since You've Been Gone, I Can Breathe for the First Time." Jimmy Fallon, and as if the news wasn't bad enough for Trump, moments later, Rudy Giuliani popped into the Oval Office like, don't worry, boss, you still got me. Oh, there's more late night today. They were joking about Bill Barr. Seth, Attorney General Bill Barr resigned. I didn't expect this, but I'm a little emotional about it. No, wait, that's tear gas. Seth, President Trump tweeted, just had a very nice meeting with Attorney General Bill Barr at the White House. Our relationship has been a very good one. He has done an outstanding job, which Twitter immediately flagged. Corden, Bill Barr has resigned as Attorney General, as opposed to before when Barr was simply resigned to his fate of defending every stupid thing that Donald Trump has ever said. Fallon, seriously, Barr's quitting now? That's like waiting until the last 5 minutes of the Emoji Movie to walk out of the theater. Fallon, that's right, Barr is leaving before Christmas to spend holidays with his family. Americans heard this and were like, yeah, we all do that, and then we come back to work. Corden, Barr and Trump, they couldn't have been that close. They couldn't have been close because otherwise Barr would have gotten coronavirus. That's so good. Trevor, yes, Bill Barr has officially resigned, which surprised some people because for a long time it seemed like he was ride or die with Trump. He whitewashed the Mueller report. He protected Trump's cronies. He even reportedly ordered peaceful protesters to be tear gassed just so Trump could walk over to a church and wave a Bible next to it. And when the White House chef prepared Brussels sprouts, Barr would hide under the table so Trump could feed them to him. And Corden for the win. Maybe now Bill Barr will have time to finally read that Mueller report. From Variety, HBO Max is honoring a request by Dave Chappelle to remove Chappelle's show from the streaming service. You may remember earlier in the year, Netflix pulled it down. Now HBO Max will join, although they're waiting to the end of the year. So like, Dave, we hear you, but, not for another 3 weeks for some reason. Why can't they just pull this down? I don't know. The chief content officer of HBO said, we had a conversation with Dave. I won't get into it, but it's very clear that it's a very unique. It's either unique or not. I hate very unique. Things aren't somewhat unique. Things aren't very unique. They're unique or not. It's very clear that it's a very unique and specific and emotional issue he's got. So at the end of the year, at the end of this year, December 31st, we're going to honor his request and take the show down. You may recall Dave Chappelle put out a video in which he said they, meaning Viacom CBS, didn't have to pay me because I signed the contract. But is that right? I found out these people were streaming my work and they never had to ask me or never have to tell me. Perfectly legal because I signed the contract, but is that right? I didn't think so either. In the same video, Chappelle told the story of how HBO rejected his pitch for the show when he brought it to them before Comedy Central way back when. Quoting Dave, they said literally, what do we need you for? That's what they told me as they kicked me out of the office. What do we need you for? And here we are all these years later, and they're streaming the very show I was pitching to them. So I'm asking them, what do you need me for? Today's Daily Comedy News is brought to you by Podcorn. You've heard me talk about these guys in the past because I actually use Podcorn. So what is it? It's a marketplace that connects podcasters to sponsorship opportunities like host-read ads like this one, interview segments, topical discussions, and more. I use this thing. So you log in, you go to podcorn.com, you've got to log in, you go in, you go, hey, I got this show, Daily Comedy News. It's this guy, he reads news stories and he repurposes late-night jokes, and I don't know, some people find it amusing. So now I've got a profile on there, and I go through and I see what potential advertisers are there. So there might be one for a podcast that wants to promote talking about movies. So I reach out to those guys, and I'm like, hey, movie podcast guys, how would you like to run an ad on my comedy podcast? And sometimes they say yes, and sometimes they say no, but you get a yes, and then you agree on what the dollar amount should be, and you read some copy, and now you got a business going. I love Podcorn. With Podcorn, there's no middleman. It doesn't matter how big or small your podcast was. Mine has grown over the last year, but I've been using this thing for, I don't know, I want to say it's like 14, 15 months now. So you just set your rate based upon, how many listeners you have. You set something reasonable. You don't go like, hey, Daily Comedy News, $1 million an ad. No, you set a reasonable thing. You don't give up any rights in your podcast. The Podcorn support is awesome. I sometimes reach out to them. I'm like, hey, got a question? They get back right away. I'll put a link in the show notes. But basically, if you're a podcaster and you want to have ads, Podcorn. If you want to advertise on podcasts, Podcorn. Simple enough. Check the notes. From Deadline, Kevin Hart's latest Netflix comedy special is supposedly the #1 streamed comedy special of the year. Really? I guess people just like Kevin Hart and they clicked on this. Now, caveat here, and I'll get to that in a second. First, the official spin. More than 21 million Netflix members have watched Kevin Hart's Zero F's Given since its November 17th premiere, making it the #1 comedy special on the streamer this year, according to Netflix. But Deadline reminds us, in compiling viewing stats, Netflix measures the number of Netflix member households that watch a title for at least 2 minutes. So it's entirely possible you hit play on this and 2 minutes and 1 second and you go, oh my God, this is awful. For example, say Sarah Cooper's special. Maybe you're watching that and you got 2 minutes in. Sarah, she pantomimes to Donald Trump on TikTok, it's called. So you might be watching that. You'd be like, oh, I've heard a lot about Sarah Cooper. Let me hit play. And you hit play and you get 121 seconds into it. And you're like, I have lost the will to live. What am I even watching? I'm going to go watch The Office. She would get credit. See what I'm saying here? So Kevin Hart, maybe a lot of people hit play and went, oh, Kevin Hart. But okay, most popular special? Sure. Best special? Nobody's saying that. I mentioned yesterday I had a dream about a new Adam Sandler movie. It is called The Potato Chip Murder. I'm getting a reaction. Crimson Ninroot tweeted me at DCN Pod, and he said, I would watch Adam Sandler eat a bag of potato chips for an hour and a half. He clearly would have to be seen eating chips. If you missed yesterday's episode, the short version is Adam Sandler would play a construction worker whose coworkers are jerky to him. One of them is killed by a falling bag of potato chips that perhaps has something heavier in it than chips. So I think if you saw Sandler's character walking around eating chips, it would kind of add to the mystery. I've thought about this movie more. I could see Bill Burr playing one of the other construction workers, one of the jerky guys that bullies Adam Sandler, perhaps leading him to murder one of his coworkers. The Potato Chip Murder, starring Adam Sandler, coming to Netflix soon, I'm sure. Hey, did you see Conan O'Brien's It's 2020 Charlie Brown? This is amazing. I posted it on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Daily Comedy News. Don't want to spoil it. Conan's team nailed it. It's 2020 Charlie Brown, facebook.com/Daily Comedy News. I posted that on Wednesday morning if you want to scroll back. See, we're running long here, but I got to tell you about this one because it is tonight. Padma puts on a virtual comedy show for the Georgia runoff elections. Comedians love the Georgia runoff elections. We just had that thing with Will Ferrell and Elf, and now a virtual comedy show. Here are just some of the people part of this benefit tonight. Hassan Minhaj, Phoebe Robinson, Sarah Silverman. I think Sarah will say yes to anything. I should ask her to come on this pod because she doesn't turn too much down. Chelsea Peretti, Kumail Nanjiani, Emily Gordon, Birbiglia, Michelle Bateau, Patton Oswalt, he also says yes to everything. Aparna, Wanda Sykes, Joel Kim Booster, Kamau, and Andy Cohen. Your hosts are Matt Rogers, and Bowen Yang. The official copy here says, reads like a festival lineup, doesn't it? Well, we still can't do that in person right now, but you can enjoy this gigantic. Padma puts on a virtual comedy show, live stream tonight, 6 West, 9 East, youtube.com/ how do you say her name? Padma Lakshmi. I don't know. I don't even know who that is. This is a comedy show. Who is she? She has a food show on Hulu, apparently. I don't know anything about her. Anyway, she's hosting this thing. You should check it out. Oh, what the heck? One more story from Business Wire. A press release says an innovative women's healthcare company announced the launch of Just Say Vagina to encourage women to speak clearly and directly about their reproductive health. Comedian Whitney Cummings will discuss her journey from serial apologizer to unapologetic role model who no longer uses euphemisms or apologizes in the way she speaks out about birth control. It's time for the quote part of the press release. Whitney Cummings allegedly said, I always ask my patients, how's your vagina? I used to apologize a lot, but now I'm encouraging all women to channel their inner superpower and ditch the V word. I've learned when you use euphemisms, it makes it harder to say what you mean and ask for what you need. It's not cha-cha. It's not hoo-ha. Just say it. Vagina. And that's your K-Money News for today. Follow the show on Spotify. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. See everybody tomorrow.